Hello, Father Kelly here in somewhere rural America, not in Oklahoma. Traveling with some friends, and the local pastor allowed us to have Mass here in this church. Now, I fully admit that we used the high altar there in the back and not the more modern one there in the front. But this video is not about just dunking on the 1970s architecture, but it is talking about the tension between those two things. Because one is representative, the high altar in the back, is representative of the past when this church was filled full of people, those who built it. I guarantee you that this church, which does have a pretty good amount of space in it, was pretty full back in the day. Oh, hold on, let me not fail to be reverent here. It was a very full church, no doubt. And it's easy to look at things like this and the classroom grade carpet that's around there and say, oh, well, that's the problem. That's why the church isn't full anymore. And it's certainly not that simple. But I think it's important to kind of wrestle with that tension between what these two things represent. Now, does that mean that we should just go back and rip out all of this stuff from that time period and spend tons of money to put high Gothic things in like this and that'll just fix all of our problems? No, absolutely won't do that. The important thing is to do it the other way around, to grow in the faith, to be authentic teachers of the faith, and then let that inspire any renovations that may happen. It's very important to say that you could have a church full of beautiful things and still be empty of actual people or empty people of good faith. And you could have a church full of, let's say, not the best things, that is overflowing with faith and overflowing with people. So just having nice architectural bits or not doesn't make the difference. But what we're looking for, what the thing that we ought to strive for, I think, is the kind of faith that inspires people to build things like this high altar up here. That's what we're looking for. If we give people the rich, deep, concrete, practical, powerful Catholic faith, then kind of by natural extension, they will want to build things like that on their own. We won't have to tell them to do that. But if we only give a soft, gentle, watered-down faith meant to not make anybody upset and kind of to conform with society, well then that's how we get empty churches. And maybe the 1970s architecture and carpet is a symbol of that. I don't like making that accusation, but it does kind of feel like it. We softened everything up and people went, well, that's not worth coming to, so why would I want to? So again, to say, I'm not just dunking on a certain time period from the past. Especially I think it's important to say, one, that the sacraments are awesome no matter what altar they're performed upon. And also, there are many holy, awesome priests from that time period who have given their lives in just huge amounts of sacrifice for the people. And so I'm not dunking on them either. But I am encouraging that to move forward, we don't build nice things and hope they just solve the problem that way. Rather, we look at those things and say, you know what? What kind of faith inspired that? What kind of faith filled this church and caused it to be built to begin with? That's what we're looking for. And then it will have the secondary benefit of people who have that kind of deep, awesome faith. They'll want to build more stuff like that. I have a very, I think it's a pretty obvious theory that people who love Jesus will build beautiful churches no matter how much money they have. Even the poorest communities build things like this because they realize how important their faith is to them and they sacrifice for it. Whereas those who see faith as kind of a passing convenience, well, they build convenient things, not beautiful things. So if we want to, really, the most important thing is the salvation of souls. Architecture simply expresses how we get there. Architecture itself doesn't save souls. It lifts our minds to God to help our souls be saved, and that's why it's important to build nice things. But it's not just getting rid of 1970s or 80s things won't just fix the problem. We have to get back to a deep, rich, beautiful Catholic faith. And then the Lord will see everything else through. And if that means we end up with beautiful churches again, awesome. If we don't have this tension between this ornate past and this whatever it may be future, well, okay, that's secondary. The most important thing is the salvation of souls and to return to the authentic faith that causes martyrs to die for the faith, that gives them inspiration to die for the faith, that builds up the church that goes out and evangelizes the world. That's what we're looking for. It's symbolized by these high, beautiful things like this. But the faith itself is the primary thing.